Hi everyone, and welcome back to Dark Souls Remastered. In this part, I'm going to finish off DarkRoot Garden and do the Valley of Drakes. Now, when I originally recorded this, I kind of suffered a bit of audio delay on the game file, and it messed up my original commentary. So I'm redoing this commentary without actually playing the game while talking, and I fixed a part of the video that I can fix. It didn't exactly completely fix it, but it made it better than what it was, because it was really horrible at some points, and there is still some points that is pretty bad, but I fixed all that I could. Now, I am sorry for the audio delay. I only recognised that after I finished recording, and with Dark Souls auto-saving, I can't really go back and do it again unless I'm going to restart the whole game and restart the walkthrough from scratch. Now, here I couldn't make up my mind whether to go for the NPCs first or the other side first, so I kind of went across the bridge, and I kind of seen that it had two enemies there. I didn't really get exploring much, because when it came to these two enemies you're about to see together, I kind of just decided, alright, I'll just go and try and sort out the NPCs first before exploring here, because I kind of sustained a bit of damage and that, so I just went, I'll go back to where the NPCs are. Now, the first NPCs I'm going to come across, one of them has a bow and arrow, and the other one's kind of like a knight. But when the forest enemies, the plant enemies, started attacking me, I had to sort of run away and deal with them first. Now, the guy with the bow and arrow also has a melee weapon and a shield. So it's if he has a bow and arrow out when you're close to him, you pretty much get a free hit because he can't defend with that. But once he brings out the melee weapon and shield, that's when you have to be a bit more careful in case he might parry you or whatever. And I kind of fought these NPCs more safely, because I didn't pay the 20,000 souls to the blacksmith to get the key to the big gate, to Moonlight Garden. I went the long way through DarkRoot Basin, through climbing those ladders and stuff, but I don't think I got really fighting the NPCs at this point, so I went to the cat to kind of get rid of them.
Is it not so that thou that cometh my advice, the legend traversing the dark of thine?
And I'm sorry for skipping the talk with the cat, because I thought all the NPCs were still after me, so I kind of sped through it to kind of see how long it would take for them to go away, and then I tried to use the cat a second time, but it doesn't work a second time. And yeah, I died because I was kind of silly trying to heal up with the Estus flask at a bad time. But then after I died and went back and got the 10 Estus flasks again, and yeah, I warped to Firelink Shrine to get the 10 Estases, and then I fought my way all the way back. Like most of the enemies I just ran past. I think I only killed one enemy, which was like the plant enemy. But I think this is the time that I actually fight the NPCs and get killing them to get my souls back. I think the first thing I did was get rid of the plant enemies, to be careful, just to make sure that they're not going to get in the way. But fire weapons are very effective on these enemies, but the only reason why I'm using a lightning weapon is because it's pretty much all I had to basically fight them. And my strategy with these enemies, as you'll see, is killing them off one by one. If there's big groups of them, just keep moving away until you get one away from all the rest, and then attack them. And then when the others get close, just keep moving away until you separate them all over again. And I just basically was exploring the area just to get the items, and I did find armor that is decent against the likes of like poison. You know, it has more defense against poison than most anythings, so it was very handy, a very handy armor to find. And another thing I like to add is the shield. I started using the other shield that I found the last episode, that gives you a sort of like a boost to stamina recovery a bit later on. The reason why I use the shield that I'm using now is because it just has better defense. But see, when it came to like running away from enemies and just getting through to where I need to be, I basically just use the stamina one, because you know, you can recover stamina a bit more quickly and it'll take longer for it to drain, all of that. It doesn't do it like massively, but it does good enough. But the good thing through killing these enemies is that you get a lot of moss clumps. The purple one heals poison, and the red ones kind of put down bleed meter. So one cures poison and stops poison building up, and the other one just stops bleed building up. Now in fighting these two NPCs, it's basically the strategy of separating one from the others and try and get, try and kill one off away from the other one. Now this enemy here, this NPC, is very parryable, but the reason why I didn't parry him was basically just to play it safe, because if I mistime a parry, I'll just get hit, and I just want as many Estus flasks as I can to fight the boss. But yeah, if you do a kick on a shield, it'll bring down his stamina a bit, kind of like how if he kicks you, a chunk of your stamina goes away. But I didn't really use that. I was more or less circling him to try and get backstabs or whatever to kill him off as safely as I can. And I kind of do a similar strategy against this enemy. But I sort of get lucky here because he basically jumped off the cliff and killed himself. And I kind of thought to myself, I was going to go on, and then I kind of thought to myself, here, wait a minute, I think he dropped something. So because he jumped off the cliff, maybe if I quit out and come back in, the item might be at the cliff, sort of like the NPC I killed earlier in the walkthrough. I kicked him off the edge, I quit it out, came back in, and it had what he had. When I done that, the items were just where he would normally stand, and it makes sense, because the other guy who I did it to, it was because he started on the edge of the cliff is why the items were there when I quit it out and came back. So it's more or less where the NPC was at the start, where they normally spawn is where the item would be. And the other NPCs, which I kind of realised through playing it, is all the other NPCs in this area are basically other classes that you could have been in Dark Souls. There's a knight, a sorcerer, a cleric. I think the guy with the axe is a wanderer or barbarian. I can't remember which one. And I believe there's also a thief class NPC here as well. But as you'll see here, my strategy is basically trying to separate them from each other and kill them off one by one. But the thing that gave me a bit of trouble fighting this knight was these plant enemies that I hadn't killed yet just kept coming out of the ground. And then what happened was I had to separate them and kill them and then go back to the NPC. Or try and fight them all at once and just die like an idiot. I chose the other one. And yeah, when you block this guy's attack, even though he is very parryable, you still get a free hit. If you block his sword, you get a free hit on him. If you have enough stamina, of course. Now, through multiple times of completing this game, because I always bought the key to the big doors of this garden that puts you instantly at these NPCs, I never knew, because I never died to Sif often enough. Like when I first played the game, of course I died to Sif a bunch of times, and then after a while of being able to deal with them, I never died as much to him, which means I never knew that these NPCs in his garden can actually respawn. And during doing this playthrough, I kind of learned that they can. I was like, what? These can respawn? Yeah. Like, I probably knew this the first time I played the game, you know, because I died so many, like a lot more times than I do in this walkthrough, and there was times when I played the game when I died less, and it goes to show, you know, once you stay away from a game for a while and you start dying more, you start to learn more than what you originally knew, because you couldn't really learn it if you didn't die at certain points. It was kind of a fun discovery, but not fun to deal with. And now I'm using the shield that gives me a stamina boost. I'm pretty much just looking around to see where to go. Now, to fight this sorcerer, it's more or less dodge his magic, and when you get in close to him, try and get as many attacks in as you can. But of course, once he brings out his shield and melee weapon, just keep circling him and attack him from behind so he can't parry anything. But the most important thing to remember is just try and single them out one by one and fight them one at a time, rather than try and fight 2 or 3 at a time, because that would mostly lead to you dying, unless you're like a really good Dark Souls player. And now to fight the cleric. Now, the thing to watch out for with him is once you do a certain amount of damage, he'll keep trying to heal himself a bunch of times. And when he tries to heal himself, it just leaves himself open to be attacked a bunch of times. It's more or less just following him until he just does a healing spell, and then get right up close to him and just attack him as much as you can before he moves away again. Now at this next part, I grab a chest, and just to see what it was, and the chest that you're about to see here actually has like a magic ember in it to be able to make like magic like enchanted weapons. I think it's the enchanted ember. Can't remember the name of it, but I believe it's to make enchanted weapons, which is really good for people who have really high intelligence. But the problem is it's kind of guarded by these giant mushrooms that I came across around Ash Lake. No, the Deadly Hollow, that's what it is. No, the Great Hollow's the name of it. Keep getting mixed up on names. So all I really did here was kill the little mushrooms, but let the bigger ones kind of live, because it just takes longer to kill them. So all I really do is lure them away and then make a run for the chest. And that's all I do here, just lure him away. And then just grab what I need to. And of course I did a bit of exploring before going to fight the boss. I kind of realised that that other pathway up just goes to the other area where I crossed the bridge coming into Deadly Hollow. And this is where I start the boss fight. And when I was coming up here to fight Sith, I kind of forgot a few things when fighting him. The thing that I mainly forgot was when to roll to avoid his attacks. And another thing that I forgot was not to just take an Estus flask when you're not under him. Which sort of went against me because I was doing things the wrong way. So I kind of done pretty well here for a bit. But then I kind of realised as well, like in later attempts, that maybe the armour I was wearing was too heavy. Meaning, like, I was getting like a fat roll, but I normally fight him with lighter armour. So my time of reaction should have been sooner than when I usually roll, and that's when I decided to switch out the black armor, which I upgraded and stuff, for like the armor that I found in the Dark Moon Garden, because it's lighter, and every other defense is not as high, but poison is higher, which doesn't do much, but does more in the sense that has decent defense and it's not as heavy. So it was kind of like the second best that I could have. Not really in terms of overall defense, but more in the sense like it's lighter than most of my other options with decent defense. DarkRoot Garden. Keep calling it Dark Moon Garden. Oh, I think it's because of a boss name. That there butterfly. And then I decided to go in here just to see what items and all was there, and I only found one item. So yeah, I kind of run past enemies and stuff, having a look around just to see what's there. And I find out there's only like one item, and I kind of got attacked, kind of got myself, you know, losing health just to find one item. And as I say, I really apologise for the audio delay. It is pretty bad. Now in this attempt, I sort of done a lot more better. To let you know, this must have been either my third attempt, because I definitely did die and lose the 38,000 souls that I had through killing them, through being killed by him the first time. But this time I sort of fought him more like I should fight him. The other time was like locking onto him and rolling at the wrong time because I'm wearing armor that's a lot heavier, and then in this here fight I seem to be getting a lot of frame rate issues while playing, so what you see with it slowing down now actually was how it looked for me, and I wonder if that was anything to do with the audio delay of my capture card maybe. And now this here is my final attempt on fighting Sif. I think I died to Sif either 3 or 4 times. So this must have been something like my 4th or 5th attempt. And to show you this, this is where I actually fight Sif a lot better. Like the way that you're probably supposed to fight him. And I did experience a little bit of frame rate issues in this fight too, which was a little annoying. And the thing with this fight was, after I died to Sif and I had 7 Estus flasks, I just thought to myself, you know what, I'm not going to go all the way back to Firelink Shrine to get myself all the way up here again. So what I did was I just ran past enemies and stuff and just got all the way back here. Now when you roll and go under Sif, the good place to try and attack is his hind legs. But sometimes underneath him I just swing the sword because I know I'm going to hit something. But the thing with going for the heavy attack with one hand on the long sword is the odds of missing. Like I missed there, that was a strong attack. If I would have just done 2 light attacks, they both would have hit and I would have got more damage than what I would have got with just a single heavy hit. And probably I should have just 2-handed my sword while, you know, I was under him. And that time was pretty much a bad time to use the Estus. The best place you could be to use an Estus flask in this fight is right there under him. See, the other times that I used an Estus far away from him got hit. That's because I did it at an absolute wrong time. The only place you should ever use an Estus flask against Sif is underneath him. Same with attacking. And now that I got Sif beaten, there is a ring behind the gravestone which increases your critical attack, which means it like puts up front stabs and back stabs. The Hornet Ring, that's what it is. And from here, all I done was just homeward boned back. And then I went and took care of the Valley of Drakes. Now in the... I think I level up here. Putting myself up to level 56. I believe I put up my health. Yeah, now in the Valley of Drakes, there's a ladder that gives you like a really good ring. But if you were to go to New Londo Ruins and open the big gate that lets the water out, you will not get this ring because the door will be covering the ladder that you're supposed to climb up to get it. I probably went back up because I forgot something. Like an idiot I am sometimes. Probably forgot to like bring pyromancy. I only really have one attunement slot, so I could only use Fire Orb because the Chaos Ball needs 2 slots to use and I only have one. So end up using Fire Orb. And of course this is me finding, just looking through stuff, but I was primarily finding the poison ring to see if I had it, and the pyromancy glove, or the pyromancy hand, whatever it's called. Yeah, pyromancy flame. And I sort of used the lightning weapon on the drakes underneath. Just like I knew that they would have like a resistance to lightning because they're lightning enemies. But that was the best weapon I had. So I kind of tried that with them and it done little damage. And then I tried to like swap out another longsword, which was the not even upgraded, and it done far less damage. Not surprising, but I tried it out because I had good strength, good dexterity, stuff like that, and it wasn't enough to actually make it decent damage. So the best conclusion I came to was it's better not to try and kill the drakes, it's better just to run by them and grab the items and just basically get out of there, or at least move forward to fight the zombie dragon. And of course this is what I was explaining, seeing that done less damage. It's kind of like after a while you kind of realise, it's probably best just to run past all these. Like even here going back, maybe if I change my weapon, I'll just go up here just to make sure the drakes don't attack me. Didn't have enough strength for the great sword to fight with it one-handed, so kind of went, alright, I'll just grab my normal lightning sword or that. Yeah, once I realised that this sword does far less damage than the lightning one, because the lightning one is a lot better, I just went, you know what, I'll just change it back to lightning sword and just make a run for it. no point in trying to kill all these enemies. Now the sensible thing here to do, and what I was thinking of doing, is just homeward boning away from this area after grabbing the ring. But then I kind of thought, maybe I can save a homeward bone by just waiting for all these enemies to go to their original positions and then run back. And through doing this, I kind of learned that was a bad idea. Because when speedrunners do it, they jump off or what and make a run for it or what, but I used the ladder to come down because I didn't want to take too much damage. So then, when I died and came back, I done the sensible thing that I should have done in the first place, which was use the homeward bone. Now, coming up to this part, I find a humanity, which is good because now I have enough humanities to use with the Door of Chaos to get the shortcut that I want. And of course, I'm going to fight the zombie dragon that's ahead of here, which in my opinion is the harder one because of how it is compared to the other one. Like the other one, you have a lot of cover and you just run up and hit a hand and that, but here it's not quite that easy in my opinion. Some people might think that this one's easier because of the fact that you can use pyromancy on it and stuff like that. But my strategy here to fight this thing is, see, it'll stay lying down unless you pick up an item. But after you pick up an item, what you want to do is kind of get far from it. So I pick up this one and I try and get a hit in and then run up to the side to avoid the poison spit and to avoid getting hit. And what I do here is, the first thing is I change to the poison ring and then I bring out pyromancy and try and get as many hits in at him as I can. Some of these fire orbs miss him for some reason, but I think about 2 or 3 of them miss because I was in the wrong direction or I threw them at a wrong time. I kind of threw it when it couldn't get him for invincibility frames, or maybe just misses him from whatever way he's on the hill or cliff. And to fully kill him, what I do is, with the lightning sword, I wait for, like, I try and wait at the edge, you know, of where the poison spit is, you know, just before it, just at that fine line where it can't reach. And then I make a run for it, hit the hand furthest away from me, and then run over to the other side. And then what I do is I try and wait at the edge, you know, where the poison can't reach, and then I make a run for it again and hit the hand furthest away from me, go to the other side, and I just do that until he's dead. That's pretty much the strategy I use against this enemy. But if you have fire arrows, you can aim it towards, like, close to, like, where the wings are, and you'll hit him every time. But with pyromancy, you don't quite have that 100% accurate aiming. You know, it's basically the direction you stand is where it goes. So yeah, what I'm going to do here is basically what I just explained. Sometimes, I think a couple of times I actually get hit by the dragon, and there is 1 or 2 times where I run into the poison that he's spitting out by accident, but not enough to actually get me poisoned. So yeah, that's basically how you fight him. Well, I should say the way I fight him. Then when he's dead, you're just free to pick up the items and just move on. I believe this should be the last hit to kill him. No, still a couple more to go. Yeah, it's close to last hit now. This is either the last hit or the second to last hit. So if this here, one hit here doesn't kill him, I only need to hit him one more time. Or I should say I only had to hit him one more time. And there we go. We get a sword, dragon scale, another shield. I believe that's a shield that has better defense against fire, I believe. I could be wrong. But then of course, with defeating the zombie dragon, I go back to where the shortcut to Blighttown is, and I go into Firelink Shrine. And with the, well, first I go into New Londo Ruins, and then I take the lift up. Now with the Firekeeper soul that I got in the last episode, I kind of use it here to give myself an Estus Flask +2. I think the highest upgrade of Estus Flask in this game is like +7, I think. I haven't really decided what boss I'm going to go for in the next part, but I'll make up my mind then. I could either go for Bed of Chaos, or I could go straight to the Four Kings. But Nito will not be done next. It'll be between the Four Kings or Bed of Chaos. And because when I go to Bed of Chaos, I'll get the hat that I need to be able to see in the dark instead of having to use Skull Lantern, which will be a big help. Seath the Scaleless will not be done until after I defeat the Four Kings because of the path I want to take with the other Primordial Serpent. And if I give the Lord Vessel to Kingseeker Frampt, I'll not be able to speak to him. But yeah, that's the end of the video, and until next time, I'll see you then. Goodbye.